Donald Trump has been very aggressive in going after Senator John McCain, the late Senator John McCain. And a curious component of that is how Senator Lindsey Graham is handling it, considering how he was supposed to be really great friends with McCain. Well, initially, Lindsey Graham was very critical of Trump. In fact, fairly recently, he referred to Trump as a one-pager kind of guy, but that's mild compared to what he said about Trump during the election. Called him a jackass, also a race-baiting, xenophobic religious bigot. And he also has, just called him out on his hatred and bigotry over and over again. And then all of a sudden there was a pivot. All of a sudden, Lindsey Graham went from hating Donald Trump to being insanely supportive of him. And I'm gonna tell you why in just a second.
So I want to remind you also of what Donald Trump did to Lindsey Graham during the election. After Lindsey Graham did a critique of him, in the beginning it was mild. Donald Trump doxed him and gave out his Lindsey Graham's cell phone number on national television. Okay, so I mean that's crazy for one politician to give out the phone number of another politician, and of course he got nothing but vitriol and hatred and anger and threats of violence and on until of course he had to change his number. And so he sicks people on you and physically threatens you and intimidates you, Trump does. And then Lindsey Graham says, oh my God, this is unacceptable, racist, bigot, etc. But now Lindsey needs a boyfriend.
Totally.
And I don't mean this in any sexual way. It's just what Lindsey Graham does in his political life is he finds an alpha male and he attaches himself to him.
And I have evidence of that. And the evidence is basically Lindsey Graham admitting it himself. But before we get to that, so lately, Donald Trump has decided, okay, I'm gonna go on the attack against John McCain again. And so he's accusing John McCain of allegedly leaking the Steele dossier prior to the 2016 election. Now, we know for a fact that McCain did no such thing. He gave the Steele dossier to the FBI 1 month after the election. And so given Trump's recent attacks toward McCain, Lindsey Graham, who was good friends with Senator McCain, comes out and says this: as to Senator John McCain and his devotion to his country, he stepped forward to risk his life for his country, served honorably under difficult circumstances, and was one of the most consequential senators in the history of the body. Okay, so he's defending John McCain, but as Cenk mentioned earlier, Senator Graham did pivot towards sucking up to Donald Trump. Take a look for yourself.
Every president deserves an attorney general they have confidence in. This is not working. Look at the caravan. Look at the charge against the border. Look at the caravans that are to come. I believe every president has a right to their cabinet. These are not lifetime appointments. You serve at the pleasure of the president. I think you serve at the pleasure of the president.
But serving at the pleasure of the president means the president could fire you if he didn't like your haircut. I mean,
truly, I'd want the whole $5 billion because the caravan is a game changer. What you want to do is destroy this guy's life, hold this seat open, and hope you win in 2020. We had a great lunch. We talked about Syria, and he told me some things I didn't know. If I were the president, I would dig in and not give in on additional wall funding. I find it, quite frankly, wrong for the Senate to reject the idea that Donald Trump can't replace his attorney general. Well, I'm not asking Mexico to pay for it. I'm asking the American people to pay for it. Yeah, but I'm not talking about what he said. If you got a problem with Jerusalem being the capital of Israel, take it up with God.
Wow.
Yeah, Lindsey Graham, one of the most pathetic figures in my political life.
So he made this pivot while Senator McCain was still alive. And The Daily, which is a podcast for the New York Times, actually interviewed Graham about all of this. And it was a fantastic podcast. You should listen to the entire thing. But Lindsey Graham didn't hold back. He specifically mentioned that, hey, yeah, of course. I mean, I want to stay relevant, and I'm an opportunistic kind of guy. Take a listen.
Yeah, and I like being relevant. And the way you stay relevant is you stay engaged. There's a lot of space here to take on tough issues because most people shy away from them.
Right. So Lindsey Graham said, like, John and I were relevant together. I mean, it was like we're sharing a meal together. We're sharing a value system together, and that value system was relevance. And I was confused by the word. I said, what do you mean by that? And he said, relevant is like in the middle of everything. Relevant is you're making a difference.
It means that during the time in which you possess political influence and power, use it.
So in other words, Senator McCain is quickly losing his political capital. He has this devastating terminal illness. Donald Trump has a lot of power right now. Why don't I latch onto him, even though he's a terrible person, and I've previously said he's a terrible person, but at least I get to have some relevance.
And so that's Lindsey Graham's political strategy for his entire career, which is coupling. He couples with actually powerful politicians so he could ride on their coattails. It's really, really sad.
Very sad.
So, and by the way, again, this has nothing to do with gender. He also did it with Joe Lieberman, and he also did it with Kelly Ayotte when she was a senator from New Hampshire. So for a while, they were the three amigos: McCain, Lieberman, and Graham. And then Lieberman left the Senate, and Ayotte came in, and then they were the three amigos again. Now he's lost all of them because they're deeply unpopular. Ayotte and Lieberman were, so they're out of office, and McCain obviously passed away. So he's got a couple. So he coupled himself to Donald Trump, and he's attached himself, and
it's paying off for him, right? And so as soon as he's willing to play ball, he gets rewarded. And one example of how he's getting rewarded is Mike Pence is gonna do some campaigning for him in his reelection. So Lindsey Graham shared this information on Twitter saying, I'm honored to announce that Vice President Mike Pence will help kick off my 2020 Senate reelection campaign by attending events, yada, yada, yada. Okay, so you get the point.
So same thing with Ted Cruz. Oh my God, I will not stand for this. I can't believe he called my wife ugly and my dad a murderer. Oh, please elect Donald Trump, please. And Donald Trump is an American hero. I'm gonna write the Time magazine description of what a fantastic guy he is. Pathetic. These guys who go around bullying other people, starting wars. The minute there's any kind of conflict, they immediately hide behind their what they perceive to be an alpha male. And if you find Trump to be an alpha male with his deep insecurity, I don't want anybody joking around about me. I'm having SNL investigated. That crying, sniveling little bitch, and you find him to be your alpha male? I mean, what does that make you, Lindsey Graham and Ted Cruz? Just the saddest, sorriest sons of bitches there is, okay? You're pathetic. And all these Republican voters that look up to these guys, Jesus, you're looking up to them? How bad is your life? Miserable. Thanks for watching this free clip of the Young Turks. Don't forget to become a TYT member today. For more exclusive content, join now at tyt.com/join.